Maverick 100.9 Aggieland's Country Alternative. It's Corliss. Super excited to finally debut your newest Aggieland artist. Taylor Graves is here. Hey, Taylor.
Hey, how's it going?
It's phenomenal, especially to have you. We've been waiting on music for a minute now, and you've even brought along Lucas, who's a part of your band, right?
Yes, this is Lucas. He's my partner in crime now.
I sure am.
Very quickly became best friends, and we've been making music together since the get-go, since we started playing together.
Since like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
A whole whopping 3 months. Well, you guys, you are very early on in your career. I met Taylor Graves at a Peaches and Cream show, and anybody who listens to these interviews knows I always hound people to go to their shows early because the openers are always extraordinary. So I get this beautiful young lady singing her heart out, and she's singing everything from every country tune that you know to her originals to Britney Spears. And I was like, who on earth is this? You were so rad.
Thank you. I will never forget getting into my sultry version of Toxic, and the room kind of slows down. And I get done and everyone's clapping and the room goes quiet and I just hear, "Free Britney!"
Leave it to Corliss. Can always make a moment awkward or funny or both. Well, I talked to you that night and you were working on some new music. And so you have finally put together Nightmare in a Dress, which just released. So it can be streamed and downloaded everywhere. Tell me about this single, because I know you're really super proud of it.
So Nightmare was one of those songs that was written on accident almost. It was my last spring break as a student, and it was the spring break when COVID hit. And I'd gone to Mexico with a couple of my friends, and we were in Mexico whenever we got the email that like school was canceled, the world was shutting down.
Oh my word.
And so we fly back to Texas and we're all in quarantine, and we're all stuck in quarantine. And I was bored out of my mind, and I vividly remember my Wi-Fi going out and having nothing to do. So I was like, I'm going to take this opportunity and I'm just going to write some stuff. And I get told all the time that I'm not ladylike enough and that I don't fit this cookie cutter of like what a young woman should be.
Ew, that'll get you a bloody nose real quick.
Right. Didn't sit well with me. And, like my dad's always telling me, he's like, you cuss too much and be more ladylike. And listening to country music, especially, I noticed that a lot of the songs, the girl is never the hero of the song. Right. She's never the badass. She's always someone's companion. She's always crazy because someone broke her heart. And I was like, well, I'm going to flip the script a little bit. And Nightmare in a Dress just kind of became this power song of like, yeah, I might be a little crazy. I might be a little different. Definitely not that ladylike, but this is who I am, take it or leave it. And you're crazy if you cross me. And this song kind of sat there for a while, and I wrote it probably in 20 minutes, start to finish. And I remember sitting there and playing it, and I was like, okay, this is fun, because most of my songs are really sad and depressing. And this song was not. And it was also very country, which is not typically something I write. I tend to lean more into the singer-songwriter, sweet, romantic side of things. And I got done. And I called my friend, and I called her and I FaceTimed her and I played her the song. She was like, oh my God, you just wrote that.
Right.
And it's going to be something. And I didn't think much of it. COVID passes. The song just kind of sits in my notebook for a while. And then I started getting back out playing shows again whenever venues opened back up. And I remember my first show, I was in Brenham after COVID had kind of settled down a little bit. And one of my audience members had asked me if there was anything new that I had written that nobody had heard yet. And that is a question I get a lot because I write so much that people want to be the first to hear it. And I was like, well, actually, there's this one song that I wrote a couple months ago that nobody's heard yet. And at that point, I sang Nightmare in a Dress. And it was my first time playing it, and people loved it. And it got to a point that every show I played, no matter where I was, and to this day, any show that we play, even though Nightmare wasn't out until now, people are like, play Nightmare in a Dress. And we're looking around in the audience and people are singing it. And I'm like, where did you get the lyrics? Because they don't exist anywhere. And so whenever I had finally decided to pursue music full time and start putting my music out, even though I had all of these songs recorded, ready to go, I was like, I'm doing myself an injustice if we don't put Nightmare out first. So that's when I met Jody at the Peaches and Cream concert that I met you at. And I was like, look, man, got this song. It needs to exist in the world. And he heard the song and he was all for it. And we basically recorded the entire thing in a day. Yeah. Obviously the process took longer, but we got everything tracked in one day.
A big shout out to our friend Jody Bartula. We love him, whether it's with Peaches and Cream, Cody Johnson, or just out and about in the community. I mean, we love the guy, and it's really cool to see our local artists supporting other local artists and bringing something so special to life, you know?
Yeah, I could not have imagined the song being done any better. Like, I've listened to it so many times. I had to take a break from it at one point because it was driving me crazy. And listening to it, picking out every imperfection, and it finally got to a point where I was like, there's really nothing I would change about it. And that's when we were like, okay, like, this is the song.
This is the song. And you guys actually get to hear it here first on Maverick 100.9. It just released your newest Aggieland Artist, Taylor Graves, and Nightmare in a Dress. Due to copyright, Brian Broadcasting is not licensed to air this music in podcast form, but we do urge you to find this new single on your favorite downloading and streaming services. Today's interview continues now. You just heard it here first on Maverick 100.9. That was your newest Aggieland Artist, Taylor Graves, Nightmare in a Dress. This single can be downloaded and streamed everywhere now. And of course, you'll be hearing it here on Maverick 100.9. And we are just so excited to have you. And on top of this new single release, which I know has just been kind of picking at you for a while. This is such a big moment for you. You actually get to perform with the Ransom Brothers and Brian too.
Oh yeah, we're playing tonight. It's actually our first full band show. So we're super excited, super stoked. We have a really cool set put together of a bunch of country songs, pop songs, rock songs. Like, really, this set makes absolutely no sense, but Britney songs.
I love that. Yeah, free Britney. Well, I am super excited for you guys to get to go out and debut this in person to everybody. So anybody listening, if you loved Nightmare in a Dress, you can see Taylor Graves full band tonight in downtown Bryan. Taylor, what's your social medias and stuff? How can we get the info?
So Taylor Graves Music is all of my social media. Everything is linked to that. Everything's linked on my website. Tickets, there's a link in my bio on my Instagram, which is Taylor_Graves_music. Taylor like the guitar, Graves like the thing we end up in.
You are morbid. I am just falling more and more in love with you by the moment.
You could call me a nightmare.
Oh my gosh. Taylor, it has been so great having you. And thank you, Lucas, for joining us as well. You guys are amazing.
Thank you so much for having us.